Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is your friend Evan Manship here with Mainstay Property Group with the Indy deal discovery, and we are coming in hot with our third episode, teaching you, educating you, and answering your questions on how to underwrite and analyze Indianapolis investment deals here in the Circle City. Today I have the one, the only, Luke Stewart here. He's the deal prince. He is the dispositions manager at Mainstay Property Group, and he's going to drop some truth nukes on you to have you not only get your questions answered, but he might just drop some sneak peeks on some stuff we got coming up this week. Luke Stewart, introduce yourself. What you got to say?
How are you guys? Yeah, we're going to, look at some solid deals today. Maybe give a few potential ones coming down the Mainstay pipeline.
That's the biggest tease I've heard.
Loose lips sink ships, and Luke Stewart is sinking mass ships here. He's sinking man ships if we're not careful. So
what a tease.
Luke got a new deal coming up here, and one of the coolest little pieces of Indianapolis that where Clay and I first got started investing a long time ago. We started buying on the Indianapolis.
You say a long time ago, like it was like decades ago.
I turned 30 like 2 weeks ago.
Steve and Dave are gonna watch this and laugh you out of the room. I think
we turned 30 a couple weeks ago. We started buying it in the eastern townships of Indianapolis.
We did
2014. So seems like a long time ago. Seems like eons ago. Real estate's a great way to get gray hair. But wanted to talk a little bit about that, those areas, and just load up one. Maybe you can take them through that first deal we did.
Yeah. So look, real quick. Again, Indy Deal Discovery is to walk you guys through how we underwrite deals. Right. You've asked 10 different people how to do deals and how to underwrite and analyze investment properties. You get 10 different answers. Right. This is our opinion. It's not a guarantee, but we're going to walk you guys through how we think through stuff and how we think it's been beneficial for us here in Mainstay. And so we're going to walk you guys through the eastern townships today, being on if Indianapolis is a clock. Those who are clients have got tired of me talking about this. Indianapolis being a clock, we're going to be looking probably from 2, 3, and 4 o'clock today on the eastern side of Indianapolis outside the loop. Look at Lawrence Township and Warren Township specifically. So to jump into a first deal we did, we just jump right into it if you want to do Routiers.
Happy to do it. Before we do, guys, please hop in, ask questions. Especially if you had a deal on the east side or the eastern township, or if you want to pick loose lips, sink ships, brains here on this deal that's coming through, please do so. That's why we're here.
We want to underwrite your deals. Bring them on.
Live questions, live answers. Bring us your deals. We'll make sure we give you our thoughts. So, Clay, tell the people here our address and how this came about.
So we back in 2014, you could hop on Zillow and just find a house and buy it. It's pretty much everything was a good deal. Everything was still on sale in 2014. We were still kind of recovering out of the economic kind of downturn. The address of this first deal was 1813 Routiers, Routiers.
And before I load up the map on exactly what these comps look like, I just want to show these people.
Yeah.
This isn't like
you're just gonna rub it. You're just gonna rub it in, aren't you?
I'm rubbing it hard in y'all's face. This is one of the best buys we've had. This wasn't a short sale. It wasn't a bankruptcy. It wasn't an auction. Just someone getting rid of a house, listed it on the market, and Clay and I bought it. So as you can see here by the days on market here, it wasn't like this was like a highest and best situation or anything really competitive about this. It just sat there for 6 months. But Clay and I bought this for $30,000. Clay, tell them why we bought it.
Yeah. So again, the first house we bought was in urban core, super inner city. Not necessarily at the time maybe a rough area, but you're looking at 2013, 2014, just a different time. So we wanted to get in Warren Township. We wanted to have kind of a more blue collar. Family, working class type environment, and
more of a working class tenant base.
Yeah, and I think that's what you're going to find in a lot of these townships. Is you're going to find not lower income, but middle to lower income, working class, married family, 2 kids. It's a very predictable environment, and that's what Warren Township did here in Routiers. This deal was pretty straightforward. It's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, about 1,100 square feet, no basement. It's the most predictable thing in the world. It was easy to understand value here, and not a whole lot can go wrong with it. It was on a slab, just boring as hell, right?
This is a quintessential manship approved rental right here. 1,000 square feet, 3-1 township, 50s construction, no basement, no BS.
So for those who follow the manship kind of equation, 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,100 square feet, no basement. Yeah, it had they had like a converted garage area, I think, if I remember correctly. So we started looking around and we saw stuff selling in 2008, 2007 for like $120,000. So I said, okay, wow, let's take a quick look at this. So we were in the process of a BRRRR property. We were a couple broke 23, 24-year-old kids with no money. In fact, we had negative money. I think we literally had like $100,000.
I couldn't afford groceries.
So we So we raised some private money, went up and found a rich guy. Shout out to Jeb if you're watching. Found a rich guy who lent us $30,000, and then we put $5,000 in rehab on a credit card. And so we were all into this deal for $35,000. And I hope Ev's pulling up some comps here to kind of show you guys what that looks like.
Well, I am, but again, like I don't want these comps to speak volumes for what we did back in 2014. That was 5 years ago.
We were all into this house for $35,000. And, you know, at the end of the day, you do run that quick math. We had to have it appraised out of, what is it, 55 or so? Had to be worth 55 to get the bank loan at 80% loan to value.
Yeah.
Whatever the math is, right? And so we ran this whole process and ended up appraising at 86, 87.
I think I've got this appraisal still saved on here. This is eons ago. There you go. 4.6 or 4.716.
Why did you get appraised in 2016?
I think we held it for almost a year.
I was still in high school at this point.
Yeah, Luke was. I think Luke might have gotten his driver's license by this point. So
that's pretty funny, actually.
I should say opinion of value, right?
So when you look at this again, we had to have at least $55,000 so we could call the bank, say, hey, come appraise this house. We just want a loan for 80% of what the house is worth. Not what we're into it for, $35,000, what it's worth today, $55,000 or whatever we need it to be. So the bank came out, they appraised this house, they looked around, saw that we'd painted. I think Ev painted some walls, and I
did. It wasn't good.
Or something.
I'm not happy about it.
And we were on our hands and knees working. Right, we were a couple broke kids making this work. So this appraisal comes back. If Ev can ever figure it out, I think it came back at 75 or 80.
Yeah, it sounds right. I forget now.
Anyway, moral of the story is we got the bank loan. We paid our private lender off. We paid off our credit cards with the loan, and we had a cash flowing asset with no money out of pocket. Right. So this is the first successful BRRRR deal we did. And we were all in for 35. I think this house leased for
it's 70 is what this.
Leased. Okay, 70. There you go. And I think this house leased for $750 or $800.
Yeah, $800
at the time.
Yep.
So at the time we were getting, you guys talk about the 1% rule. We were getting a 2.2% rule in Warren Township
on the market.
So a little bit different than today. But moral of the story is we held this property for a number of years. I think 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and sold it to a really good client of ours who was just looking for cash flow. So. When we're evaluating this, when we're underwriting this deal, first off, if you're looking at any deal in a decent pocket of town and you're getting a 2% rule, chances are something's good about that.
Oh, yeah.
In today's market, it's really hard to, and you know better than I do, but finding anything in a decent area that's well above that 1% rule is just difficult.
Well, again, 2% rule is kind of the on steroids version of this whole thing. But
Yeah.
if you can find something at 1.2 or 1.3 or certainly 1.4.
Back in the day, 2% was like cake.
Yeah, 2% was cake, but if prices are continuing to go up, so if you can find something at 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, and take all your money back out, that's the magnum opus of what we're all trying to do here. So, in an effort to kind of demonstrate how this neighborhood has grown or how undervalued we bought the thing, whatever, that's the whole point. You're trying to buy everything well. You're hard pressed to find anything in this neighborhood now that's not, 6 figures.
Yeah, on the same street, another 102 right there.
Oh, there you go. Found something for 92. So, it's
And why don't you zoom out and show the people where we're at again here? So, again, we're in Warren Township, and again, it's directly east of the city. And again, you talk to 10 different people, you get 10 different answers. I like Warren Township a lot. Certainly south of 70 right there. Big fan. So, again, finding a pocket that you can familiarize yourself with and be comfortable in the numbers. At the time, we didn't know Warren from anything. It was just a quick pocket. It was a 1960s, 70s construction house, and we just made the most of it. But even so, when you're looking back at what stuff sold for in 2009, 2010, when we bought this deal, it well superseded what those values were. So
absolutely. And the reason we like this one more, not to continue to echo Clay's sentiment here, but you got something right here, Warren Township High School. So Warren High School is right here. A little bit different than the IPS or the urban cores of the world, but you got a neat township high school right next to the interstate. A lot of distribution up and down Shaylin and Post and stuff right here. So jobs, good schools, just that next step up from an urban core neighborhood. Certainly during 2014, 2015, it may have shifted a little bit. Seeing neighborhoods like Bean Creek and Garfield or whatever take off, but this was ripe for the picking back in the day. So that being said, if you can identify something where you can get a 1.2, 1.3, 1.4% rule here in these type of neighborhoods, they don't stay on our shelves very long at all.
And you see that frequently right now, right? I mean, you see typically these people are chasing 1%. And even if you can get out 1% and get all your equity back, get your money back out of the thing, we see that all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
What was that deal to kind of ruin the surprise for those who are just tuning in here, but do you remember the address of that one that Matt signed up on Friday or Thursday, whatever that was? You know which one I'm talking about?
Pawnee.
Yes, I am talking about Pawnee. What's that show?
Parks and Rec.
Parks
Pawnee,
and Rec.
Indiana.
All right, so it's not Parks and Rec. It's not Pawnee, Indiana.
Close to it.
This is Pawnee Lane or something like that.
3025 Pawnee Drive.
So this is
I
another.
didn't even like that show. How do you even know?
I don't want to tell you. I don't feel comfortable disclosing how I know what that's from.
Okay.
I've watched negative episodes of Parks and Rec.
Negative.
All right,
Amy Poehler is objectively not funny, by the way. Not to derail this
That's
entire
true.
conversation. Objectively not funny.
Yeah, that's bad.
Fight me in the comments.
Michael Scott's much better.
Michael Scott is far and away funnier. It's not even close.
So the whole reason,
There we go.
again, to bring this up again, the whole reason we've been talking about Amy Poehler or Pawnee or anything to do with this address here is this is on the east side again. This is 30th and Midhofer Road.
Zoom out and show the people where we're at. Oh yeah, right here again. Still in Warren Township. Starting to flirt with Lawrence a little bit, but again, we're like outside the loop. 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, outside Loop, 3 o'clock, a little bit north of 70 there, but neat little neighborhood. And you're actually this house cracks me up because if you're a basketball guy, I'm not kidding when I say you can just sink threes. You can just demolish. You can
From the
You
roof.
can just sit on top of your roof,
I didn't know that. That's funny.
chug Gatorades, and just nonstop can threes from your backyard. So backs up to a nice little park in Warren Township. A cool little house. What are the specs on this, Luke? What's the story?
It's a 3.2, 1336, I believe.
3-2.
We think it needs about 15K of rehab.
Basement garage.
Let's see here. I
Come on.
believe it has a
Deal
garage. It's 2-car attached garage.
2-car attached. Okay.
Here we go. Actually,
Built in
there's
1988.
there's a previous listing, which is going to help us
Yep.
out a little bit. So just to give you some clarity here, folks, this is another Manship approved rental. This is what appears to be a slab. Yep. So we're on a slab. We have a 1988 construction, right? So recently built slab, vinyl box, Warren Township, backs up to a park. What else y'all want here?
You got a near identical property that sold at, or is pending at 135 right now. So current market.
No kidding.
Yep.
So, but back at it here. So real quick, I want to make sure you guys see this. Go back to that old listing real quick. This is interesting to me for a couple different reasons, but first and foremost, looks like this house sold in the red there. You can see this house sold for $91,900, and I was going to scroll down and show me when this sold. So this thing sold in 2002. This house sold for $91,000. Okay, $92,000, and I think we're going to be selling this property for less than that in 2020.
Was it 89.9 or what?
89.9, yep.
So imagine that. Like it's. You can make one or two assumptions there. You can say that the neighborhood's gone down in value pretty significantly, or that we're just buying at a super good discount, right? And so the comps are going to tell you that story. So we go back and look at the comps. I think Luke said one was pending at 135.
Yep.
That's fascinating to me.
Which one is
So-
it, Luke? Do you remember?
So you got
Pull it up
130,
right here.
90, 110.
What's this one? Should have bought that one.
Click on that guy. Let's see what's
Check
going
out
on. So it's small. Is it beat up as shit?
Yeah, this one's probably. It could be worse.
It's not bad. It
They
needs
had the
work.
granny wallpaper all over the
Yeah.
place.
All right, cool.
bet
10.
this is-
It's just smaller. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. 10504 East Folsom is
What?
pending. 2 days on market, 134.9.
What is
so
it?
you get 130s, 120s floating around. Click on that guy. Yeah, let's.
Nope.
Kiowa.
We've done a handful on this one too, and this one's actually a little bit. So again, like if I'm an appraiser, I look at this just the same, from a per square foot version. But at the same time, like this house, built in '75, so
Right.
almost more than a decade older. It's got a little bit of brick facade, no real vinyl siding or anything like that.
One less bath.
One less, half less bath. So I mean, there's some adjustments you have to make here, but this stuff's popping at 125, 130. So our indication here is, what's our equation again? We call it 90 for 90 purchase, 10,
90,
15.
10, 15 all in.
Or-
ARV's 135. I think the pending one's right there at the top.
So if we're playing this-
similar
sorry.
looking house.
If we're playing this game, then so we're buying at 90, putting 10 in plus 15 into it. 90 plus 15. Oh Jesus. 15, 105. It's worth 135. We're saying.
That's what this one's
yep.
pending at.
So we got a pending good comp. It's in good shape. Little plank woods and shit like that.
Mm-hmm. 2 days on market.
Is that
So
what it is?
105 divided by 135, and that's kind of what we're trying to do, guys. Is if you can be all into a property at 77 cents on the dollar. That allows you to call up a bank and say, look, we want to come out and appraise the house. It's going to come out at 135. I want to have a bank loan come back and pay myself off so you can continue to stack assets in your portfolio, no money out of pocket, and it's generating cash flow every month, right? How many residual rental properties do you have to own before you can step aside from your full-time job or pay for your kids' college or whatever you want to do with the money, right? That's the process here, is to repeat that process with the same amount of money over and over and over again.
Yeah, while doing it in the safest way possible, and that's why, something was built in the 80s, 1,400 square feet, one of the most working class, objectively boring neighborhoods of Indianapolis. You're going to get Warren Township. That's the biggest piece of this whole pie, is find something safe, steady, that can be replicated, and that's what we believe Warren Township to be. But if you're talking something that's younger than our property, not vinyl sided like our property, 2 days on the market, roughly same size, same specs. If you can grab that thing at 85 grand, 90 grand, that's a win all day long. So, thanks for sharing, Luke. We'll send these comps to anybody that wants them or whatever. But ask away on that one. That's likely going to come out at some point this week.
Yeah,
we're going to get inside tomorrow or something.
We're getting inside tomorrow. If anyone local wants to get inside tomorrow, 5:30, and then the next day we'll probably be sending that one out at 90.
Cool. Ryan Nelson, do we have any comments, questions, concerns, any addresses in the comments right now?
Who's buying?
Why is it not
Pawnee.
sold?
Pawnee. Is Amy Poehler buying Pawnee? I need to know.
As of right now, we don't have any addresses or anything.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable it's still available.
Well, I blame the Facebook audience for this one, but that's on them. For those of you who maybe the hesitation here is, 85 is a lot of money to be spending on a rental property. Depends where you buy it and all the specs and whatnot. But something I wanted to address, and the whole reason we got into this next area is because Warren Township was relatively, I don't say overpriced, but certainly was a little bit more costly than Lawrence Township, which is where our old office building was, and where Clay and I really started to ramp up our Burr efforts when we were hot and heavy into buy and holding here. So, without further ado, I just wanted to demonstrate Warren Township's roughly here at the intersection of 70 and 465.
We got a deal in Lawrence right now, don't we?
If you look a little bit farther north, Lawrence, this is going to be between, call it 2 and 3 o'clock on our 465 clock here. But Lawrence Township is another township that's just ripe for the picking, ready to rock and roll. One of the most well-regarded rental neighborhoods in the city, from a tried-true, boring, blue-collar, understanding of it all. So much so that back in 2016,
Oh, this is a thing of beauty.
early 2016,
What the hell is that?
this is the office, man. What the hell do you
Oh,
mean?
it's a
What is
side
that?
view. I didn't know what was going on.
You got the deal mobile there. In the
Yeah, man.
Look at all these freaking cars.
Yeah.
This is funny. So this is the corner of 46 and Shadeland. This plyboard right here is
Represent.
from what someone tried to break in here to our office building, and that's why we subsequently moved away from the corner of 46 and Shadeland. But Lawrence as a whole never really gave us any problems.
No, we owned that building for what, 4 years?
Yeah, a little under 4 years.
And never had one. I mean, we had issues. A little kid throwing rocks.
Yeah.
So, real quick, something I do want to mention to people. I'm the first one to recommend investing in Lawrence and Warren and these east side suburbs, but I don't want to give you guys the idea you're going to have the same upside potential as far as equity upside out here as you will downtown.
Yeah.
Downtown is frankly, it's gentrifying at a capacity that's taking over a good chunk of urban core areas. And when you're out here throwing darts at the east side, you're not making the same kind of bet. You're making an investment that's going to be a lot more stable, in my mind, a lot more stable, a lot more predictable, and you're not going to have the ebbs and flows of maybe some of those unknown downtown areas. But as far as first-time investors or people who are just looking to put a staple in their portfolio that's going to bring in consistent cash flow and kind of be I don't want to say a trophy, but it's just it's a horse, it's a workhorse, it's an ox in the portfolio, right? And that's why I like these things. They're vanilla, they're boring, they're predictable, and you can put them in the portfolio and forget about them, right? Because they're going to churn out consistent money.
Yeah, you're not doing butcher block or you're not leasing it out to college kids or anyone's going to pay
it's
this
not
ultra sexy
No.
rent rates or anything like that. But
You're gonna lease that out to a plumber that's got 2 kids and his
he's going to be there for 4
ex-wife.
years. And
Yeah.
right.
We were just talking to Quentin about that. It's nothing crazy. It's boring, but it's profits on paper at the end of the day, and it's what you're looking for.
Yeah, if you can stick money in your pocket every month and build balance sheet like Quentin was saying. We just shout out to Quentin McNew, by the way, who was here visiting us in the
Q?
office, and Dan Goldblatt just the same, who just walked out
Less than half an hour.
21
probably.
minutes ago. Yeah. So been a busy week, and for those of you that are coming in later this week, it'll be an absolute ball having you all. But for anyone, whether it's Dan, who's doing his first property ever with us, or Quentin, who's been doing this forever, everyone can echo the sentiment where
Yeah, I think so.
tried, true. It's just like betting on anything else. Risk and reward. Closer to downtown, there are more question marks. Different school systems that are going to be make your investment a little bit trickier. But something like, again, I keep pointing to our office building. Obviously not our office building, but something in Lawrence Township will obviously be a little bit more risk adverse and have the less of those ebbs and flows for your first deal.
Well, let's do this. Let me go.
What was that deal you were talking about in Lawrence? Now I'm just confused.
No, I think we have one in Lawrence. That's why I asked. No, Reinhardt's on the west side, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was Richard.
No, we get a couple on the west side. We get a couple on the east side. But there's actually a woman who, Christina, if you're watching this, hi.
First and post.
This is, I guess, Warren Township. But same story. Christina actually looked at a handful of deals we had in Lawrence and ended up deciding on Warren. But same story here. I think Christina wanted something, was willing to pay maybe a little bit more for something in Warren Township than maybe a little bit higher return in Lawrence with a little bit additional risk. So you talk to 10 different investors, you'll get 10 different opinions per usual. But gun to my head, I think that Lawrence carries an additional amount of risk that perhaps would require a little bit additional yield.
Why? What makes you say that?
I really don't know. I think Pendleton Pike has a weird vibe to it.
Because it's busier or what? Because I agree with you. I'm just curious.
And for the same reason, you've seen some of the Mainstay Property Group videos of places not to invest, places to avoid. You talk about 42nd and Post, 42nd and Midhofer, some of these pockets for yucky, dilapidated, low-income housing tax credit departments and stuff like that. There's a couple really nasty areas in Lawrence Township that don't exist in Warren. Therefore, Lawrence has a negative connotation, and people kind of drive themselves away from it a little bit. So, again, there's some parts of Lawrence that are ultra sexy. I mean, what we're not talking about here. I was
just about to say
someone's going to ring me in the comments and say, "I bought a house up here, Fort Harrison." It's like, okay, well, that's completely different. Than
some of that stuff's
here in
closer to
Warren.
Geist. Is technically Lawrence.
Yeah,
It goes all the way up,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So Lawrence is a cool area. You just have to know what for an out-of-state investor to be successful in Lawrence, you have to understand the pockets, not to invest in, but to not invest in, to stay away from, right? And that's why I think the video series you guys put together is so good. I mean, staying away from 42nd Post for the most part, and 46 and Midhofer for the most part, and the list goes on, right? Are not advisable for first-time, even second-time clients.
Yeah, maybe more so for local folks, but either way, Indy's Indy. And you'll hear us talk about this forever, that, we're just talking about something on 30th and Midhofer, which is
completely different.
Completely different. Eons different than 42nd and Midhofer, 42nd and Post, whatever.
We could check out that Browse deal that Mike Mader had. He just listed that, and it's pending, right?
You're talking about the Breen deal, not Browse.
Breen, I'm sorry, yeah.
What was that?
What fucking deal is this?
Here, let's do this.
I'll do pretty well on this one.
Yeah, so there's an where's Mike from? And he's coming to the office too this week, isn't he?
Yes,
Christ's sake.
he is
No more
from,
people in the office this week. Luke and I.
Is it 3658
He's
Breen?
from
That's
Southern California.
That's the heart of Lawrence. 3658 Breen.
Yeah. It's near 38th and Post.
Yeah, it's 3658.
Evan and I were up looking.
And that's what I understand.
The other day.
So hang on. So Tom, let me pack.
I'm gonna flip over the table because this goes against everything I just said.
So as much as we can sit here and try and put rules to the east side townships, I don't want to call them the suburbs, but for lack of better terms, the suburbs here. Stay away from 38th and Post, stay away from 42nd and Post. Well, actually, Mike, I remember Mike buying this and seeing our videos, like, what the hell are you guys selling me? What the hell are you guys selling me, man? You got these big ass videos saying don't buy, don't buy, don't buy. But we had to kind of do some education here with here's kind of what we're thinking. Anyway, so this is our settlement statement here. This is Mike. Mike bought for 65. You remember what he put into it, by chance, Luke?
I think less than 15. I
think it was less than 15.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's pending for 135, 139.
Well, hang on. Let's go back and look at what he bought.
Yeah.
For 65 grand here. I'm glad you brought this up too, because this actually, I like when stuff that we sell kind of materializes a little bit. And this isn't a deal he was going to make a killing on, but again, this is our first deal with Mike, who is super important that we did well by him.
Move that to the center.
Oh, sorry.
It's one of my first days going through this property.
Yeah, I think Luke. I think the first house Luke ever walked through.
Yep.
Nelson, can you see that? Okay. That's a yes.
Yeah, we're good.
So just super small stuff. Maybe like some power washing. I think he did replace some mechanical items.
Added another bedroom. Just put up a
Yeah,
wall.
he framed up another bedroom.
Yep.
So
I
this is
remember this house
a
now.
large 3-bedroom that he made a 4-bedroom. New carpet and stuff, new paint. But he didn't touch that fireplace. So we kept laughing at that fireplace. Like,
Yeah.
man, it looks like the Jetsons or
It's like
not
textbook
Jetsons.
60s, 70s.
Yeah.
What am I
it
talking?
is.
Not the Jetsons. What's the
Brady
Brady
Bunch.
My
yeah.
God.
The Jetsons.
Jetsons.
Are you fucking serious?
Born in the 90s. Either way, this is what Mike ended up with now. So Mike's in the process of selling this thing, and he's what was the address?
58, 36.
3658.
Yeah.
And Mike is likely going to tackle another deal with our group here when he's here this week, and with good reason, because this one actually turned out exceedingly well. So again, props to Mike on the awesome deal. Not props to Mike's photographer who didn't cut the grass or didn't.
Did we do the rehab on this?
I don't think
did
so.
not,
I don't
no.
think so.
Well, Aaron, if you're watching this, make sure you pull the weeds before the pictures get taken. That's something else.
Yes, I mean just some quick little
Yeah,
fixes to the
that's
kitchen.
good.
Probably about that tile at a garage sale or something. Like, here's the Jetsons, the Brady Bunch fireplace.
But guys, what you're missing here is
Easy
this deal's pretty interesting because I would argue this is typically a rental neighborhood, right?
100%.
But there's a lot of buying capacity. Those who taking advantage of the low interest rates in the environment today, taking advantage of the fact that there's low inventory on the market, and rentals are getting more pricey in these rental neighborhoods. So you got three things going for pointing towards people wanting to buy a home, right? So I would guarantee you, with my bottom dollar, this is probably an FHA buyer, right, who's willing to pay top dollar because they don't have to put a whole lot of money down, right? So that's also really popular in the neighborhood. So, again, it combats everything I just said. It's about knowing the neighborhoods and knowing the blocks and frankly, understanding what you can get away with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, too, is, any wholesaler, any broker can hook you on anything. Buy this. It's great. It's a great investment. Well, why? How could Mike have navigated doing this without any level of, well, I wouldn't buy here unless blah, 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 blah. So Mike got a cool deal, put in a cool amount of rehab to it, made it a cool house, but he had someone kind of holding his hand, identifying different options on which way he should proceed on this. I remember him talking forever. Was it going to be a rental or a flip?
Yeah.
Or what was he going to do with this damn thing? So having someone who can speak some level of education into your camp on low interest rates, or this block is more attractive for a homeowner versus tenant base. Mm-hmm. Whatever is ultra important, especially when you start talking about Lawrence neighborhoods, especially when you start talking closer to 38th, 42nd and Post.
Well, let's play this game too, just real quick. So Mike bought this property for $65,000, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say he put $15,000 into it. At that point, he has one of two options. He can either go down the rental path, right, and have it, lease out for $1,000 a month,
Mm-hmm.
Why's that so big?
and then option into refining if he wants to. Call it the bank. Let's say it appraises for the same amount of money that someone is willing to pay for it, right? Objectively, someone's willing to pay $135 because it's pending at $135, right? So assuming he's all in for, what is that, 65 to 80 grand divided by 135 is what?
80 divided by 135?
80 divided by 135 is what? So Mike is now all into this rental property for 60 cents on the dollar to a rehab rental property that's cash flowing well above the 1% rule, right? Or if you're buying things the right way and putting the right amount of money into them, you can make a quick sale, right?
Yeah, and I tell people all the time, obviously
If you're doing things the right way, you should have both options available to you.
Yeah, the goal is to have options, but again, there's something to be said for cashing out and taking the money you have the ability to make today, because tomorrow it may not be there. So to run math,
Shout out COVID.
Yeah, shout out COVID. So to run math really quickly here, 5% is for commissions and 6%. No, it's actually 5. I read the listing, so put her there.
Wow, a little flex on them right there.
Yeah, gotta read the listing.
That's
give me a break.
uncomfortable.
So 128.55. Let's say he puts up $5,000 in closing costs, whatever, concessions, whatever, and he's all in for 80. That's a good chunk of change that Mike's just walking with. Again, for something on 38th and Post, you can sit there and clear 35, 40 grand. Who wouldn't do it? A little bit easier than trying to manage tenants, in my opinion. So shout out Mike. When's he coming to the office tomorrow?
Sometime this week, I believe. Yeah.
So let's do
Probably
this.
coming to grab his check.
That feels good. Let's do this one deal because I remember this deal vividly, and I want you or Luke or someone to walk through how they would get to a value on this property.
Okay,
It's
Luke,
in
go
Lawrence.
for it.
It's I'm just wrong all the time at this point. Rental property, 4453 Richard Avenue. 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 900 square feet, no basement, no garage. And this
Go ahead, deal, Prince.
And this is a property that we sold a little while ago, probably a year or two ago at this point. But I'm just curious. Walk me through this. If I'm sitting here from the beach in La Jolla, California, how am I getting a value on this thing?
You said 2,900.
Yep, no basement, no garage.
Can you go to results there, Evan? Let's see.
Let me sort.
Yeah.
Is that the one right across the street?
I don't know.
Is that the same fucking house?
So I mean, you have a pretty identical comp that sold for 81 there.
And where are you finding that, Luke? Just point it out for us.
4511 Peyton Avenue. It looks like 4 days on market, 816 square feet. No basement. Looks pretty similar there.
Yeah, it looks like it's got a detached garage. It looks like.
Yeah, but still,
Detached garage, yeah.
let's say ours is bigger, so it might be a wash, right?
Yep, exactly.
Let's check this baby out.
Yeah, that's dope.
It's like the most rental houses I've ever
Yeah.
seen. I kind of want to own this
that's-
house now.
Yeah, that's excellent. So what you're saying is sit here and do the per square foot, and then apply the additional square footage or whatever. Oh shit! Okay, sold in. You said that sold in 4
So
days.
sold in
market.
4
Yep.
days, $81,000. And I think what Luke was saying is this one has a detached garage, and ours is a little bit bigger. So let's just assume it's a washout.
Yeah, let's say ARV is 80.
80-ish.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, as far as just taking one comp and taking a stab at it, I think that's a good place
Something
to be.
else, and again, I don't want to keep droning on this. Maybe more, we're trying to find some difference between Lawrence, find some difference between Warren, but something that some commonality they both share is ultra straightforward houses for the most part, right? You're talking 1,100, 1,200, 1,500 square foot ranches with maybe a garage, maybe a crawl space or something. Whereas if you go to Garfield Park or Bean Creek or anywhere on the freaking east side, houses vary by thousands of square feet. Basement, maybe a garage, weird lot,
Attic space.
Attic. I mean, just you name it. There are all these different variables that make it really, really tough to gauge ARV. Where again, if you're having a hard time with it, imagine how someone who's professionally trained in this is gonna act. More question marks mean more volatility for you and your end all be all from a buyer, appraisal, whatever. So maybe my favorite thing about the East Side and Warren and Lawrence and frankly Sobro shares a little bit of this just the same.
Would you stop on your Sobro high
I need to
horse?
get off that.
Please.
Indy
give it a
Best of
rest.
Best Bracket Challenge winner 2020. But we very rarely have issues where we bump into stuff like this. It's all normally the same, including 4111.
I think in the
511 Peyton.
I think in the out-of-state symposium from last year, I was on the panel and called it a brick shit house for those who were there. And I stand next to that. If you can make your first investment or start making stables your investing portfolio is a brick shit house, brick. You got nowhere to be. So again, it's predictable, it's easy, it's vanilla, and that's call me risk adverse. That's what I like doing. So this is right up Clay's alley right here.
Well done. Guys, again, I'll end my little soapbox here in a word of caution. Your first deal, again, it should not just be on the east side. It should be something where you can easily understand it. And again, shout out to Dan Goldblatt for making the trip over here. But Reinhardt. But this is the deal he's taking down.
Brick shit house?
Another brick shit.
Hey!
This is the
My
deal. This is the
man.
deal that Dan and Adam and Brandon
Well done,
and,
Dan.
and Steven are taking down on Friday. That we're doing construction on. We got everything ready to rock and roll. And
Brick.
again, same story. Like if
House.
you look at some of these other houses nearby, it's like, hey, it looks the same. 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 I mean, it goes on and on. All these damn houses look the same. So it's not just unique to the east side. I like the east side because I know the east side. That's where I got started. But the west side's obviously eerily comparable here to kind of how this whole thing looks. But as long as your first investment is easily understood and you have a solid team full of folks to manage or to do rehab, you'll be just fine.
That's a sweet little house. You guys sold that before I even got to look at it. That's pretty. That's pretty slick.
I didn't think it made it to market, Luke. Did it?
I don't
Did
think,
we-
no,
we-
it didn't.
I don't think we even sent that thing out.
No. There's like 3 literally identical houses.
But we got
Use
this. We got the
comps.
scope of work back while we were sitting up there with
Yep.
them. There's Aaron. There's Aaron right there.
A little bit under budget.
Cool.
So what's it going to take to get this thing rent ready? Do you remember?
I think it was around 18,000. The scope of work.
So it's not anything crazy crazy rehab wise. It's just pretty much a cosmetic, maybe swap out a water heater or something like that.
Yeah, we're redoing redoing a part of the roof. No, we're framing in a third bedroom. That's what it is, because this thing actually is like a 1,200, 1,300 foot 2-bedroom house. So we're making
that's twice now
it's a
since
big 2-bedroom. Yeah.
But look at the kitchen. What are we talking about?
That's twice now since we've been talking that you guys have brought that up and successfully from two different people. Is that something you guys see a lot of as far as strategy wise from investors saying, I'm gonna take this big 2-bedroom and this big 3-bedroom and frame in another one so it adds value as far as the appraisal goes or the flip goes?
I think yes would be the shortest answer to that question.
I just kind of strategy kind of eluded me. But
I mean, if you can kind of see the difference in the ARVs in the area between 2s and 3s, Evan and I will even market it out if it's 2-bedroom and kind of tell people, hey, best play here would probably be make this 3-bedroom, add in a few grand in rehab.
For this one, actually, when we were talking to Steven and the Goldblatt brothers, we were like, yo, we don't know what this is going to cost from a rehab perspective, but based on the other couple deals we've done this for, where we framed in a 3rd or 4th bedroom, we spent another $3 or $4 grand framing it in, doing electric, all that other jazz. So we just applied that directly to the rehab and then marketed it out as a 3 or 4 bedroom house.
And so the appraiser or whoever's going to look at that, I mean, obviously from a sales perspective, it's more attractive to a buyer to have an extra bedroom, right?
Of course.
So you're saying that the appraiser's going to look at that extra bedroom and it's going to increase value simply for having some sticks and bricks around it?
Yes.
For sure.
And even more so, when our group's involved in rehab on these projects, what you pay for our project management fee isn't just us taking pictures and walking back and making sure the contractors are on time, on budget, but also, here's our scope of work. Here's what we did. Here's the before pictures. Here's the after pictures. Here's a binder of what all we did. Here's the stats it was ahead of time, 2-1, 1,200 feet. Now it's a 3-1, 1.5, 1,200 feet. So that the appraiser gets the most objective look at what the differences are based on not only condition, but, the stats on this thing. They've changed. The whole makeup of the house has changed. So, granted, this is a really unique house in a cool area, but it's not unique in the fact where as long as you're not cramming a circle peg into a square hole on getting a 3rd or 4th bedroom or a half bathroom, whatever it is, and one of those value add items in there, keeping the flow of the house consistent and not janky. Great way to add value and get your money back out of the deal. So congrats to the Goldblatt guys and Steven for sure.
Exciting. Yep. Very cool.
Rock on. Ryan, if we don't have any comments, questions, concerns here, I'm going to wrap this thing up and sell Pawnee to probably myself. So let's wrap this thing up. Clay, get these people out of here.
Listen, again, Indy Deal Discovery, we loved hanging out with you guys and, frankly, loved interacting with you guys. If you guys disagree with what we talked about, we want to hear about it. We embrace debate, and we want to hear you your 2 thoughts. If you think urban core is more vanilla than my township houses, let's talk about it, man. And on top of that, maybe the one thing I'd bring to you guys is let's underwrite some deals together. Next week, we love bringing address in here and talking about them. In fact, having investors in here has been really cool in order to talk through several addresses in one sit down. So
I'm glad you mentioned next week too, because guys, if you can imagine, this ugly mug's getting married finally.
I'm
post-COVID wedding, initially scheduled for May.
Post-COVID.
During COVID.
Yeah.
Amidst COVID.
Amidst COVID wedding.
Clay's supposed to get married in May, getting married next week. So we're actually going to be bringing back our Indy Deal Discovery for a second straight week. Normally it's every other week. Next week we'll be back here as well with another out-of-state guy to talk about kind of barrier dividing lines.
Then I'm in Jamaica. We'll talk about Jamaican real estate.
And then Clay wants to do it while he's on his honeymoon. It's not going to happen, but we'll be here, me and Luke, and a couple other folks. Give us a shout. We'll make sure we get on here, talk about some neighborhoods and some dividing lines next week on Monday. Indy Deal Discovery. Here at Mainstay, I'm Ev, Deal Prince, Luke, Clay. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Talk to you.
Thanks.